after a series of epic winter storms covered their communities in many feet of snow.
Thousands of people still have no power. Their supplies are running out.
Houses buried under snow.
We have to unbury them.
The city manager declaring a local emergency.
A new storm system threatens millions of people with flooding and other damage.
Flooding and mudslides.
Most of California is prepping for another battle.
They just can't get a break.
The latest winter storm to clobber the state with heavy snow and damaging downpours.
Historic snowstorms. Many here are still digging out from the last storm.
Atmospheric rivers are expected to slam California in the coming weeks.
Major flooding.
You get more rock slides.
There's an unprecedented 10 feet of snow in the San Bernardino Mountains.
Yosemite National Park is closed indefinitely after getting 15 feet of snow.
There has been so much snow coming down into Sierra Nevada.
The mounds get higher and higher.
Literally buried in as much as 12 feet of snow.
I'd say stay home, don't travel unless you have to.
Threat of avalanches.
A 6-foot onslaught of snow.
And there seems to be no end in sight.
Ooh, well, what a lot that was. This is the video I'm making announcing my hiking plans for 2023, specifically on the Pacific Crest Trail. But hey, you know what, before we get there, I thought I might just take a minute and reintroduce myself, or introduce myself for the first time for those of you who are new to the channel. My name's Brian. I go by Beat, or Travelin' Beat, on the trail. I am happily married. My lovely wife Daphne and I were living in Washington, D.C., had been living in D.C. for about 8 or 9 years when the pandemic kicked up. And she was kind enough to let me fulfill a bucket list dream of hiking the Appalachian Trail. Well, we packed up everything we owned, threw it all into storage, got her a new car. She was traveling up and down the East Coast as I was hiking. Hiked the Appalachian Trail in about 156 days, I think, in 2021. Albeit with a 5-day break right near the end of the trail to rehab from a broken hand. I actually broke 2 bones in my left hand about 188 miles from the northern terminus of the Appalachian Trail, and had to sort of rest and see whether I'd be able to continue. Well, I was able to continue, finish that trail, and then last year in 2022, hiked the Continental Divide Trail. That was about 2,700 miles with the routes I took. I'll mention that both of these trails I took daily videos, daily vlogs showing trail conditions, just pretty nature shots, sort of story and narrative about how the hike's going. If that's something that appeals to you, you might go back and check out those videos if you're into it. Plans for this year, definitely I had been very much planning on hiking the Pacific Crest Trail in 2023, but these snow conditions are absolutely insane. I'm gonna put up a couple of graphs here. These are coming from the California Department of Water Resources. So this first graph you can see, just to kind of orient us, along the y-axis we have the percent of average snow water content. That is the annualized average snow water content that falls in the Sierra Nevada mountain range. Along the x-axis you can see that's tracking time. So over the course of the winter into the early summer, that's showing months basically along the bottom there. So this first graph, we have this big blue hump along the bottom of the graph is showing us the average. So this is again just the average annual snow water content. This next line we'll see, this little red line, this is the highest snowfall as measured in inches to hit the Sierra. This was in 1982 to 1983, that winter. This is the red line that you're seeing. This next line, this is a very epic, famous, infamous year for PCT hikers. This, of course, is the year of fire and ice, when the 2017 PCT hikers encountered record snow levels in the Sierra. And finally, this fourth line, this bold blue line here, is the 2022-2023 snowfall so far. So you can see up in northern Sierras, there is 180% of normal snow as measured by snow water content. Central Sierras, we have 228% of normal. Southern Sierras, 271% of normal, and then statewide, 223% of normal. Absolutely insane snow levels going on in the Sierra. And that's led to some really stressful thoughts for me relating to the viability of the planned hike. So the difficult part is that I am extremely uncomfortable quitting. Frankly, I mean, I don't know if this is a virtue or a vice, but it is what it is, that I'm just kind of geared that I'd rather not start something that I don't think I'm going to be able to finish, rather than start and then be forced to quit. And I know my own psychology enough to know that once I'm on trail, it's going to be very hard for me to make decisions to quit. And that's just who I am. That's just kind of how I'm geared. That's how it went for these last 2 trails. Again, I mean, I finished the AT with a broken hand. So what does that tell you about tenacity? I know how pretty the snow can be. So I know from my experiences specifically on the Continental Divide Trail that it can be absolutely stunning outdoors in the snow, especially at elevation when you get those pretty alpenglow sort of conditions working. But at the same time, of course, snow can be incredibly dangerous. So I've been in touch with some friends resources I have in my life. Had a nice long chat with Farrell, who's a nearby Triple Crowner who lives relatively near me here in Northern Virginia. Farrell hiked the Pacific Crest Trail in 2019, was kind enough to sit down with me before I hiked the Continental Divide Trail, and really his insights and wisdom were really invaluable in setting me up for success on the Continental Divide. So sat down with him and just sort of chatted with him. Also had a good long phone call with my friends Midnight and Cowgirl, who I met on the Continental Divide Trail last year, both both Colorado gals who hiked the Pacific Crest Trail about a decade ago, and they both spent a ton of time out in the snowy conditions in Colorado, so their insights also invaluable. I also had a good long phone call with Kingpin, another buddy of mine from the Continental Divide Trail, another Colorado dude. Although my conversation with Kingpin was more about alternatives to the Pacific Crest Trail. So Kingpin actually hiked the Hayduke Trail before getting on the Continental Divide in 2022. And at one point, and frankly still, am somewhat considering the Hayduke as an alternative. So the really heavy snows in California may wind up making the Sierras impassable, but those same heavy snows kind of blew into Utah and may very well make the Hayduke kind of like just a banner year to hike the Hayduke, because the Hayduke's definitely known for pretty extreme water scarcity, and with that higher level of snowpack on the Hayduke, that's sort of something it's on my radar anyways, that it might be a better year to do the Hayduke than the Pacific Crest. But you know, as I said, I can be a bit of a stubborn guy. So I think we're just going to go for the PCT and see how far I can possibly go. Hope I don't have to quit. Hope I don't have to flip. But if we have to do either one of those, I really hope that I have a clear enough head in mind to make those decisions if those are the decisions that have to be made. So anyways, I'll be starting that very first week of April, heading north out of Campo, California, and going as far north as I can possibly go on the Pacific Crest Trail. Very much hoping to tag the Canada border. A couple notes just about the channel for those of you who have followed the channel on previous hikes. First off, thank you very much. But a little bit of nice news for you guys, although a bit of bummer news for me. You might be aware that there's new federal regulations regarding filming in national parks, which say in part federal law requires a permit for all commercial filming. This includes individuals who generate revenue by posting on websites such as YouTube. Well, as you may know, again, if you followed any of my previous hikes, I like to be a bit of a Boy Scout. I like to keep my nose clean. I like to follow rules. So unfortunately, I will not be able to generate any passive revenue on this hike by monetizing any of my videos. So definitely, so many of you have been so generous on previous hikes to donate to the hike. Well, again, this is not a money-making endeavor, and I'm not out here with the intention of making money necessarily. But if you feel so inclined, I'll have those links for donating to the hike down below all of my videos. Otherwise, you know, I do look forward to doing daily vlogs again, daily videos from the trail on the Pacific Crest Trail. So definitely be sure to hit like, hit subscribe, drop a comment, all that. A couple of upcoming videos I have. I will hopefully be going through a full gear loadout for everything I'll be bringing on the Pacific Crest Trail. That'll be coming up pretty soon. I will also be doing a very specific video on a very specific piece of gear, which will probably catch your attention. So definitely be sure to hit subscribe so that you get a notification when that video's out. Finally, I'll just say there will be links in the description to like the Department of Water Resources, California Department of Water Resources, some of these other resources which I've mentioned in this video. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. I look forward to getting on trail and hopefully finishing this trail. So travel and beat here, guys. I will talk to you later.
Travel and beat with the earth beneath my
my feet. I will walk to the rhythm of a traveling beat, traveling beat.